Hello flosstube, this is Janae. I'm back for my second video for a quick update on some whips and also a haul. But first of all, I would like to say thank you to everybody who watched my video. I can't believe I had so many views. I literally thought it was going to be my mother and my best friend and that was going to be it. So I was very pleasantly surprised with the amount of views that I got, so thank you so much. And along with that, I'd like to thank all of you who left comments, both encouraging and comments with advice or recommendations. I have some things to talk about regarding those, mostly the colors for Lantern Lane, so thank you so much for all of that. So I thought I would start with my current whips. I've made some progress on the Faith sampler, though not a lot, because I've been very focused on Lantern Lane, because I recently made some color changes, and I love them. And I have the comments, in fact, to thank for that. So I have the comments right here. Karen Thomas, she wrote a comment that recommended I go to my LNS and to check out other companies such as Crescent Colors Gentle Arts, which I did, and I found some really beautiful threads there. So I will share that with you in just a moment. I also wanted to thank Paulette PC, who had a comment that shared Stitching with a Smile with me, who also does hearting tutorials, which is awesome because that's basically the YouTuber that I wanted to find before and couldn't. So thank you so much, Paulette. Let's see. Other than that, I didn't want to share any specific comments, but I was very grateful for those two ladies who shared those recommendations with me. So, excuse me. So first I want to go over the changes I've made with Lantern Lane. Let me show you the chart. So Lantern Lane is this guy, designed by Little House Needleworks, who is quite frankly one of my favorite designers. And last time I had a video, I had purchased the hand-dyed cotton threads from my LNS, which were Weeks Dye Works and, let's see, Colorworks, Classic Colorworks. And I had done part of the house in the red, which the red that was recommended was Lancaster Red by Weeks Dye Works. Let me show you that color, which I have right here. So this is the color right there. This is the Lancaster Red by Weeks Dye Works. I love it. I think it's a beautiful color. It's not as variegated, however, when it's stitched as it looks like on the spool. And quite frankly, it doesn't even look like it's that variegated on the spool. But, silly me, I trusted the chart. I figured, okay, the chart looks variegated on the front, so surely they wouldn't recommend a floss that is not variegated. I really liked the variegation in this chart because I thought it looked like bricks on the house, which was just super cool to me. I've never really done anything like that before. So I bought this, I started it, but I was a little disappointed. I didn't see any variegation in the work that I had done on it, and so I hadn't given up on the piece because I love it. I was just a little bit stuck last time I did a video. So I kind of expressed a little bit of that frustration, and like I said, several of you mentioned go ahead for the silks, or as Karen Thomas mentioned, go to the LNS and see what else you can find. And thank you so much, Karen, because that's a really good lesson for me. I've only ever done DMC, or projects that are charted with DMC, so I hadn't ever used these hand-dyed flosses before. And But I realized when I went to the LNS that there are so many other brands of the hand-dyed flosses, and they are beautiful, and there were brands that fit this chart better than what were recommended on the back of the chart. So I went to an LNS in my area. I recently moved here within the past couple months, so I hadn't been to an LNS here before because I have had projects kind of backlogged. But I found an LNS, went there with my best friend who helped me compare threads. So first we pulled the silks because I thought I'm going to have to use the silks on this, even though I didn't want to because they were so expensive. But we pulled the silks, and then we kind of were looking around at other options, and we found that there were other options that matched the silks fairly well that were, you know, half or a quarter of the price of the silks. So that suited my budget a lot better than the silks did. So we actually took a picture of those, so of the threads that I chose versus the silks. So I'll put that picture up now so you can take a look at that. So I want to show you the threads that I ended up choosing and compare them to the threads that were charted, the cottons that were charted, and you can see a big difference. So on the chart, the first thread is called Chocolate or Chocolat, I don't know, I'm not French, by Belle Soie, and that was the silk. Now the recommended hand-dyed cotton was Cocoa by Weeks Dye Works. This is that color. Okay, so it's a pretty light brown, it's well variegated, but it's really, really light. Now compare that to the one that I ended up choosing, which was Picnic Basket number 7060 by The Gentle Art. Okay, you can see these are very different colors, and really this one is more like the silk. Interestingly, as you saw in the photo, the silks were a lot darker, like deeper colors than the cotton dyed threads that were recommended. And I feel like this Picnic Basket matched fairly well. Now the silk was more variegated than the Picnic Basket, which I ended up using, but I was okay with that. The thing that I mostly wanted to be variegated was the red for the bricks. And I'm so excited to show you the color that I chose for that. So those are the browns. The next one, the Belle Soie recommendation was Old Crow. It's a black. I got the black coffee, which was, it was charted for the hand-dyed cottons. I didn't find a need to replace this because a black is a black is a black. And I know that's not always true, but this was perfectly adequate for me. It's not a deep black like DMC 310. It's kind of a lighter black, but I think this suits the piece very well. So I kept this one. I really wasn't concerned about this. There is quite a bit of black because the black is for the street lamps and the wrought iron fence, but I'm happy with this color. So I did not replace that with any other color. The next one on the pattern is the red. So this was the big change that I made, and I am so happy with the change. So charted, as mentioned in my previous video, is Belle Soie called Sister Scarlet. I found it at the LNS. I loved it. It was kind of interesting because it's a red, but it variegates almost to a pink and then back to the red. So it's a pretty dramatic variegation, and I thought it was beautiful, but again, like $7 or $8, a little out of my price range. What was recommended was the Lancaster red, which I got and I showed you just a moment ago. But the red that I ended up getting is by a company called Threadworks with an X. They are hand overdyed flosses. they gave you 20 yards, which was awesome. This skein of about 20 yards was $4 or something like that, whereas like the Weeks Dye Works and the Gentle Art, I think they only gave you like 5 yards. So I feel like this was a pretty good deal. The number was 10421. I don't know if that's the number or the lot number. I'm not really sure, but that's the only number on here. Oh my gosh, it is the most beautiful thread. Let me show you. So I just kind of kept it on the little roll here because that's just been easiest. And you can see the variegation is just beautiful. I think this is just so perfect for the bricks. I'm so excited to show you. Let's see if that looks better. It's kind of hard to show up on the camera. But I'm so excited to show you what it looks like on the piece. It's absolutely gorgeous. And when I hold the Threadworks next to the Weeks Dye Works, it is like shocking the difference. The Weeks Dye Works one that was recommended, the Lancaster Red, it looks like it blends pretty well here. On the actual piece, it looks pink. And when it's stitched next to this one. So I took a picture of that, and I'll show it to you after I show you the piece because I don't want to give anything away. So basically I got this, I brought it home. I wasn't sure that I was gonna use this one yet, so I didn't take out anything that I had done already. I just started stitching this one, the new one, in another location on the chart, so I could compare side by side, and this is just so beautiful. Like, it makes me so happy when I see this on the actual piece. This thread alone was worth the trip to the LNS. Okay, next was Vanilla Pudding by Belle Soie, and recommended was Eggshell. It's pretty much a white. Now, I didn't change this one. Now I kind of wish I had, because it's a little bit of like an off-white, and I'm okay with that. I just wish I'd gotten a lighter white, because the next recommended one was Walk the Plank by Belle Soie, and it's called Fawn by Weeks Dye Works that I got. And these sit next to each other a lot in the pattern, and the variegation on Fawn makes it very similar to Eggshell at various points. So it doesn't stand out as much as I would like when they're next to each other, but I'm okay with it. It looks nice. It's a subtle change, which is okay. It's still nice, just not my favorite. Let's see. The green was a big change as well. The Belle Soie charted was Weathered Vine. It's like a dark green, and the recommended by Classic Colorworks is Peapod, which is kind of like a lighter, almost liney type green, which is beautiful. And I'm still considering using this one because I really do like it. But I also picked up Moss, number 0194 by the Gentle Art. I felt like it matched better with the silk, and you know, so it's a deeper green. It's well variegated. It's better variegated than Peapod, so it's really nice. My only hesitation in using the moss is that it might make the whole piece too dark, because I darkened the red, I darkened the brown, and then here I'm going to darken the green. But I'm okay with that because I feel like this correlated really well with the recommended silks. So I'm going to give this a shot. If I don't like it, I'll frog it and use Peapod, and if I don't like that, then I'll have to go back to the LNS and get some more. But as of right now, I'm planning on using Moss by the Gentle Art. And then last one is Pecan Pie by Belsois. They recommended Classic Colorworks Peanut Brittle, which is a lovely color. There's not a lot of variegation. It's a nice color though. I just decided to pick up another one by Threadworks. This is what Threadworks looks like, by the way. Threadworks with an X. This is number 10271. And this one, I was hesitant to use it because it's a very dramatic, variegated thread. It goes really, really dark to really, really light. Not really, really light, but it does go really dark. So this, at the end, it pretty much looks just like Peanut Brittle, which is the Classic Colorworks I have here. But then it has these really dark spots. And I thought I'd give it a shot. I have it on my piece right now. It's beautiful. I like it a lot. So I'm going to keep that one. So this is like, this has been a greater adventure than I anticipated. My only experience with cross stitch has been you buy the pattern, you buy the fabric, you buy the threads the chart indicates, and you go for it. But with this one, with the silks or the hand-dyed cottons recommended, I feel like you can't just buy them. You have to make sure that that's what you like, which I'm sure correlates with all the other projects you do. You have to make sure what you're buying you like, but I just feel like, especially for these hand-dyed cottons, I should have paid more attention when I first bought them. So, after all that, let me show you my progress. Now, I mentioned that this was going to be a travel cross stitch because I'm going on a 2-week trip next week, and I was just like getting it started because I like to have something going before I bring it on a trip. Then I just fell in love with the red and I just went for it. So I pretty much have the whole house finished, just missing 2 windows, and then I got part of the wall done too. So this is where I'm at. It's a lot of progress for me because I'm usually pretty busy, but I've been able to put a lot of time into this. So there's the roof. I just have 2 more windows to do on the roof, then I'll be done with the house section. There's 2 chimneys, and then, I mean, look at the bricks, guys. It is so beautiful. Look at the variegation. I love it. Now, the door has that Threadworks on it that was a replacement for the Pecan Pie. And yes, the variegation is rather dramatic, but I really am okay with that. That same thread is also in the windows, showing like the light through the window panes. I like that. And it's also up here on the top around the dormer window. So even though it is kind of dramatic and you can really see that in the door, I still love it. But you can see there's like some snow at the base of the house, and then there's a path. Now the path is the fawn color, and the fawn color is also the shutters, but the windows are outlined in the eggshell. So you can see what I meant by it's a very subtle difference. They're so similar, and I thought about taking the shutters out and changing the color, but you know, I like it. I think it's okay. I'll wait till I get to the end of the piece and maybe I'll change my mind, but I like it right now because there is still a subtle difference. It's kind of like a light yellow against the white, but I think it's nice. And then I also got this wall done yesterday. So it's not done. I still have to add some fencing, but you know, it's just a lot of boring stitching right there. Now, so that's Lantern Lane so far. So I also wanted to talk briefly about my technique for stitching this. Now, usually I always do full crosses, and usually I'll do, you know, the bottom all the way across and then come back and do the top all the way across. And I was doing that here, but it didn't really work too well, and I'll try to show you why. So, let's see. I don't know if you can tell, but I was doing that in this section right here, this row right beneath the window. And if you look closely, you can tell that the bottom color is different than the top color. And that's because I went across, all the way across once and then came back. So I did 2 passes. But the top pass was different color than the bottom pass because of the variegation. So I did a couple rows of that, and then I decided to do it 1x at a time, which I've never done before. So it was really kind of a weird pattern to get settled into, but you can tell the difference between up here, right under the windows, and down here, closer to the ground. It looks so much better. So I did the entire house like that, 1x at a time. And it was kind of a pain, and it made my back look really weird. Let me show you the back. So you can see right here, this is how I usually do it with the vertical lines, but then it turned into this, the horizontal lines. But that's kind of just how it is, you know, and then I went back to normal for the top, for the roof, so. That was kind of hard for me because I remember when I was first learning cross stitch, I was told your back should look almost as good as your front. So it was really hard for me to kind of let that go and, you know, care more about the front than the back. The back does not matter as much as the front. I really wanted that variegated look for the bricks, and I love how it turned out. I love this color so much. So that, my friends, is Lantern Lane. I'm sorry that was like a 20-minute saga for you, but it's kind of what I've been working on a lot recently. Now, I have also worked just a little bit on the Faith one, on the Faith sampler that is. And I'll just kind of set it on top of Lantern Lane here, because I took it, I only have 1 Q-snap. Previously I wasn't using it for Lantern Lane, but I decided to, and I'm happy that I did. But now the Faith sampler is not stretched. So here's the Faith sampler. Let's see. I know that's not so great, but this is what I had already had done. So what I've done since last time is this part right down here. I had run out of thread like for this last section here. Literally like I needed 10 inches of thread. It was the Krennic Fine Braid Pale Yellow. I think it's number 191 in size number 8. So I had to order that from 123 Stitch. It came very quickly. It was well packed, great price. So I would definitely use them again. I'm sure everybody uses them. So, and then I added the letters for the Faith letters. Now what I have left to do on the Faith is kind of like this row with the gold running through. There needs to be gold stitched into the letters. So I'll do that sometime. And then underneath it, there's going to be like flowers. So that's kind of what I've done on this. Now, the flowers, so like I mentioned last time, this is a pattern that my mother stitched back, well, late 90s she did it, but it's from the mid 90s. It was, I think it's made in 1994. And it's a beautiful piece, and I love my mother's. That's why I decided to do it, because I wanted to give Hardanger a shot and I liked how hers turned out, so I wanted to, I thought this would be a good one to do. So the next part that I'm going to do is right here, this little floral garland. Now, as I mentioned, this is from the 90s. I went to Joann's to pick up some DMC for this the other day, and I pulled the pinks and the greens, and it just, the colors didn't speak to me, and I love the way my mother's turned out. So if the colors I picked don't work out, I will go back to these colors that were recommended in the chart. But I decided that I wanted to, you know, try something a little different. Greens, which I love, I think are beautiful. I love sage, and kind of like burgundy pinks, which they just had this 90s feel. So I decided to go with some blues. I'm not sure how it's gonna work out, and if it doesn't work out, then that's okay. I will just frog it all. I'll go back, get the pink DMCs and the sage greens, and go from there, and I am okay with that. I just wanted I just wanted to give it a shot with these different colors. So, and I realized it's going to be a totally different look than with the pinks. But basically there was a light, medium, and a dark pink with then a deeper burgundy. So I tried to correlate that with these blues. So I got, okay, there we go. I got like a light, medium, and a dark blue, and then like this is supposed to correspond, this navy is supposed to correspond with like the burgundy color that the pattern called for. I really like these colors. I think they're beautiful. I'm not sure if they're going to work in this setting, but I'm going to give it a shot. So for anyone who's interested, the deep navy blue, this isn't the deepest navy they had, but I liked it. Let's see, it's not focusing. There we go. This color was 336. And then these colors, the light on the bottom is 3840. The medium in the middle is 809. And the top one is 3838, all by DMC. And I think they look really nice together. So along with that, initially I thought I was going to keep the sage green because I like the sage, but it looked a little, it kind of had like a dirtier look, and it didn't really work with the blues. So I went ahead and changed it to these three greens. Again, I'm not sure that I'm going to be keeping this. For the long run, but these were the three that I chose. So I think they look really nice together. So this is 3051 on the left, in the middle 937, and over here this is 3347. Okay, so those are the two main projects I'm working on. Last time I did share two other projects that I would like to finish. Those were the tablecloth that my grandmother gave me, or that I took from my grandmother's linen closet, and also the Hawaiian quilt. The Hawaiian quilt block is just a small piece. I have not worked on those at all because I've been so caught up in Lantern Lane. But since I'm not bringing Lantern Lane with me on my trip, I decided to bring the tablecloth, in the hopes that I will be able to finish it, because that will be the only project I'll have with me. I really want to finish the tablecloth, but it's the kind of project that doesn't excite me because it's one color, the X's are drawn on, it's just something I wouldn't choose to do, but because it's my grandmother's, and other than that I think it's beautiful, I do want to finish this. So I'm going to bring that on my trip. It's a long plane ride, so hopefully I'll be able to get a lot done on that. I picked up some extra floss for it too, just in case I run out, so I have no excuse to not finish it if I bring it with me. Also the Hawaiian quilt, haven't worked on it, will work on it. Now, I'm the kind of person who, it's hard for me to work on just one project at once, but it's hard for me to not buy a new project when I see it and love it. So in general, I just try to stay out of the stores, but when I go home, when I visit my mother in her home, we always go to our LNS to see what there is, and it's hard for me to resist buying stuff. That's how I got Lantern Lane started, and that's how I have these next two projects. So over Christmas, I went to my LNS. They had two projects that I could not resist, so I bought them. I haven't started them yet, but I did buy the threads for them this weekend. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is these projects are kind of, they're kind of like in line for me. So like I have to finish this project before I start a new one, essentially. That's kind of how my mind works. Now, recently I was watching a video by Courtney ECR, I think is her name. She's a fellow floss tuber. I love her videos. Actually, she was the first floss tuber I encountered on YouTube, so thank you so much, Courtney, for your videos. She has recently started a, what is it called? Heaven and Earth Designs. Now, when I first encountered these Heaven and Earth Designs, I was like, oh my gosh, these people are crazy. I could never do that. But after watching Courtney talk about her process and the one that she's doing, which is I think called Dressmaker's Shop, it's very beautiful. I kind of felt inspired to do one myself. I've gone on Heaven and Earth Designs. I've found several projects I think are beautiful. I particularly like the tapestry type projects, so I'm very excited to get started on one of those. But before I start on one of those, I want to finish these other ones that I kind of have in line to do. So I wanted to show you the haul. Like I have a little haul of the threads that I got for these, and I wanted to show you these projects as well, even though I haven't started them, but hopefully I will be able to get these done quickly and be able to start on a Heaven and Earth Designs design at some point this year. So I'm very excited about that, but I'm trying to not have too many projects in line waiting for me to do. So, what I picked up this weekend at my LNS. So, I bought this plus the kit at my LNS over Christmas, or over Thanksgiving actually, and I didn't start it because I was doing another project over Christmas, so. But I do have this. It's a little nativity scene made of felted wool and embroidered. Now, I know this isn't cross stitch, but it does use floss and it's embroidery. I haven't really done a lot of embroidery before, but I think this is just adorable. And I thought I could make this either for my niece and nephews to play with when they come over to my house, or, you know, someday hopefully maybe I'll have my own kids and they can play with it too, because I don't want my kids touching my pretty nativity sets. So this is one of the projects. I already have all the wool because that came kitted with the chart. And I just want to show you the collection of flosses that I got for it. I think the colors are beautiful. Let's see. So, I'm not going to read them off to you. Don't want to bore you too much. But these are the flosses that I got for that project. I think it's going to be beautiful on the felted wool. And I'm really excited to learn the different embroidery stitches. And along those same lines is my next planned project. So these are the flosses I got for this project, and just excited to get started on that. And so my last project is another embroidery. It's called, well, actually, let me tell you what this one is called. This one was called Oh Holy Night Embroidered Felt Nativity Pattern. And it's by Cassia Johnson Designs. Okay. Now this next one is called Spring ABC Sampler. I really like samplers. I just like alphabets, okay? Maybe that's weird. Now this is a really cute one. It's also very little girly, which would be fun for my niece or future children. I don't know. But it's embroidery with some applique on it as well. And I think it's simply adorable. Now this would be like one of the brightest projects I've done. I don't really work with a lot of bright colors. I like muted, more traditional colors, but I think this is really a lot of fun. And it's by Pine Mountain Designs, and it's designed by Sandra Workman. So, Spring ABC Sampler and Pine Mountain Designs by Sandra Workman. Okay. And now this is worked on muslin. So I got some muslin. Again, this is all new to me. I really do not have a lot of experience with embroidery, but we'll see how this goes. And like I said, these colors are very bright. To me, it looks like a box of popsicles. It's just like these spring pastel colors. They're beautiful. Now, I did not pick up the fabric for the applique because I just thought I should try to work on the stitching first, and then I'll get the applique and the fusible web, the applique fabric and the fusible web product later on. So that's kind of where I am with that project. So yeah, I was really excited to get all this stuff together, ready for my next set of projects before I tackle a Heaven and Earth design myself someday. Hopefully, like I said, by the end of the year. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to talk about real quick was a little stitching get-together I participated in. So on meetup.com, there are different groups that register there, inviting other people to come to their meetups. And, you know, these can be like game nights or running groups or walking groups, or there are literally thousands of different groups separated by geographic area that meet together and can make friends and just, you know, spend time together. And I went to one this last Saturday, so a little over a week ago, and it was a stitching meetup, and I was the only cross-stitcher there. Everybody there was knitting or crocheting, which I have some experience in both of those. They're not my favorite, but I enjoy them. I just like cross-stitching better. And it was so nice. We went to a Panera, and there were, including me, there were 5 women there. And it was just nice to sit and meet each other, get to know each other a little bit, stitch together. It was just fun. And so I just wanted to tell people about that because I didn't know about these groups. I didn't know about meetup.com, and I just wanted to share that with everybody out there and recommend that, you know, cross-stitching doesn't have to be like a solitary hobby. Don't get me wrong, I'm an introvert and I do love being by myself. It's a way I can recharge and re-energize. But it was kind of nice to go and meet other people, and they weren't old people, they were people, you know, my age, 20s and 30s, who were stitching. And so I thought it was great. It was just a fun way to share an interest with people in my community. So I just wanted to share that with you and recommend that you check out meetup.com if you'd like to participate in something similar. And if there isn't a group in your area that does this, you can start your own group on meetup.com. And so, you know, you can meet at a Panera if you'd like, or, you know, any other public area, you know. Maybe a park wouldn't be so good, but, you know, like in the library, there are sections in the library where you can talk, or, you know, another restaurant, or, you know, anything like that, a community center. So I loved that, and I wanted to share that with other stitchers, in the hopes that you can find a community in your area that is also into stitching and your similar interests. So, thank you so much for watching my video. I was shocked by the amount of people who watched my last video, because like I said, I thought I might get 5 views. I don't even know how you guys found my video. So I'm just so grateful that you've watched my video, that you've commented, that you've liked it, and I'm excited to share more videos with you. I hope that you got a lot of good stitching done during this video. I'm sorry it was so long and there were probably some boring parts where I just was talking about thread, but this was kind of an exciting journey for me to discover these different threads, and going to the LNS and really, you know, taking charge of my own work. And so I just wanted to share that with you because it was very exciting for me. And I just want to thank you again for the wonderful community that flosstube is. I love watching all your videos while I stitch. It's so much fun to see what everybody else is doing. And I hope you have a great day, and until next time, happy stitching!